Perfect. Well, it's brilliant to see people starting to join. Thank you so much. If you are joining, you do feel free to put your name in the chat and introduce yourself if you want to, because it's always really interesting to see who's here, and you can start to get a feel for everybody who's on the call and start to make benefit from the network. And it's great for us to start to be introduced to you all. So we're so excited to have everybody here. And Polly, were you going to say something?
Yes, I think Tony's here as well.
Oh, perfect. Tony, who is the National Innovation Lead, is joining us. He has been working very hard. He started the programme since 2016 and working hard to get the Patient Entrepreneur Programme up and running. And now it is Cohort 3. Tony, are you here?
Yeah, I am. Sorry. Literally, I've just finished my class. You can see I'm in an NHS clinic, can't you? I literally just finished it. So, right. Can someone tell me, I've been non-stop since 8 o'clock this morning. What do you want me to, just forgive it, that's how life is. What do you want me to do and say?
Well, it might be lovely if we introduced ourselves. Should we introduce us all? And then, Tony, you can take it away, because the first 15 minutes is talking about the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. Of course, we have fabulous slides. So it was
Amazing.
Firstly to introduce the team, if that's all right. I'll start with.
Go on, you get on and tell me when you.
Shall I start with? Yeah, you take a breath for like two minutes, but then you're back in.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce you to Polly first. Polly.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Polly Sullivan. I am National Programme Lead for the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme, and I've been working on the programme since 2016, but at the same length of time as Tony.
Amazing. Thank you, Polly. There isn't anyone that Polly doesn't know. She's been with that founding team who set up the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme, seeing its need. We also have Jenny on the call. Jenny, do you want to say hi?
Hello, thanks, Tamsin. Yes, welcome everybody. My name's Jenny Petty. I'm a Programme Support Officer for the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. So it's great to meet you all. And Tamsin, just so you're aware, I think May has joined the call as well.
Oh, thank you. May, are you right up for going straight in to say hi to everyone?
Yes, thanks, Tamsin. Hi, everyone. So my name's May Tang, and I'm the Innovation Manager working on behalf of NHS England. So lovely to see you all here.
Thanks so much for joining, May. Lovely to see you. We also have, wonderfully, the patient and public involvement team, and you are going to hear from them later, but just so that you know who you're looking at on the screen, Alice Williams, do you want to say hi first?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Alice Williams. I work in the Innovation, Research and Life Sciences bit of NHS England. And together with my colleague who will jump up and say hi, we work in the patient and public involvement section. So yeah, that's me and Sophie.
Good evening, lovely to see you all today. It's nice when Alice goes first, because I can just say I work in Alice Williams' fabulous team. So I'm the Patient and Public Involvement Manager at NHS England in Innovation, Research, Life Sciences and Strategy. And we support the Patient Entrepreneur Programme. And we'll tell you a little bit more about the wraparound support that we give our patient entrepreneurs. So delighted to see you all here today.
We're incredibly lucky to have that partnership and to be able to move all of this forward. And of course, Tony, who is nationally the innovation lead for the NHS, with several other titles he'll tell you about. Tony, do you want to tell us about you?
Thank you. And I have now finished my clinic. I just dictated my last letter. So thank goodness for the mute button, hey, or you'd have all been in for a surprise. My name is Tony Young. I'm a urologist here in Southend Hospital in Essex. I'm also Associate Medical Director across Mid and South Essex, the 8th largest foundation trust in the country. Responsible for innovation, transformation, commercial, procurement, digital, and a few other things from a clinical perspective. At Anglia Ruskin University, I'm the Chair and Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And you've met the team there already. And at NHS England, I am the National Clinical Lead for Innovation, working in the same bit of NHS England that Alice and Sophie work in. And my job at NHS England, try and get the latest, greatest things taken up, grow the life science economy in the UK. I'm the kind of the senior clinical lead and advisor for healthcare and life science innovation from a clinical perspective. That is not just to NHS England, the Department of Health, but across different government departments, arm's length bodies, private sector, public sector, and foreign governments that come and see us, and then get involved in trying to make us a go-to place for healthcare and life science innovation. So lots of policy work, which is it can sound a bit dull and boring, but it's actually what makes change happen. So get involved in lots of different things, which I'm not going to bore you with the details of. So look, the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme, I'm all right to riff for a minute on this, Tamsin, tell them all good. Thank you. What is it? Why did it start? What do you know? Oh, I didn't tell you one thing. So when I was a junior doctor, a long time ago, that was, I did 4 startups, raised £5 million, and exited them all. I nearly lost my house on the first one and lost everything else with it, but managed in subsequent ones to make the money back, so I didn't go bankrupt. And all I wanted to do was transform patient experience and patient outcomes through innovation and entrepreneurship. And I had to fight the system my whole way. They said, we want you to be a clinician, not an entrepreneur. What are you trying to do? And my argument was the latest, greatest things are coming out of the startup world, out of entrepreneurship. They're changing healthcare and life sciences. And if we don't do that, we're missing a trick. If you saw the scars on my back from trying to win the argument on that one and persuade people round, not necessarily to win, but to win them over, win their hearts and minds. Well, it was then in 2016 that Sir Bruce Keogh, our National Medical Director, came to me and said, Tony, we've got junior doctors who are quitting the NHS. They're raising money for their startups and leaving because they're being told they can't stay. I want to give them the ability to stay. Can you do something about it? You're our National Clinical Director for Innovation. So long story short, we came up with this workforce development program at the time. Could we come up with a way where we could give clinicians a commercial coach and mentor, less than full-time training, whole range of educational knowledge that I had learned from my startups, but actually I knew quite a lot of commercial and industry people that could share their knowledge and experience too. So a whole range of educational days that could teach you the nuts and bolts of lean startup and fundraising and customer validation cycles and branding and marketing and becoming a leader and building a team, understanding legal and regulatory. How do you sell into the National Health Service? How do you do inclusive design? How do you include patients and others as you start to do these things? And the long story short, we launched this little experiment. Now, well, this is going to be year 10, actually, we're coming into now. And so less than full-time training. If you're a trainee, you can have that. Educational days, connections to customers and funding. We help you with testing and trialing, a whole range of networking events, industry days and international visits. But the most powerful thing is bringing the group of entrepreneurs together, because you kind of act like peer-to-peer mentors, where they kind of say, I've made these mistakes, I raise money here, don't ever go there because you'll get nowhere and waste your time. So that shared knowledge and experience has been incredibly powerful. And what have we done? Long story short, we've got the 8-year data now of what happened in our first 8 years. And between them, our entrepreneurs founded just under 600 companies, benefited over 200 million patients and professionals that we can count through their programs, have raised over £1.3 billion between them. And we're now responsible for creating around 7% of all UK life science companies from a little old program in the NHS that gets almost no funding a year to run it. Remarkable. And what we did was back the front line of the NHS. Now, I knew if we were going to be true to our principles, that we had to have patients involved from the heart, from the start, and put them at the heart of what we were doing in designing a new NHS, a new healthcare system. How could we have amazing startups and companies that had such a great value proposition because they had been designed by people with the system knowledge to take that forward? Forgive me, I have no idea why the printer has just started whirring above my desk, so just ignore it. Well, that distracted me. I've been trying to get the flipping thing to work all day, and now it's spitting the results out. I don't know why. And we always needed that. So we brought clinicians and actually other staff in the NHS who had real domain knowledge and experience. But since year one, I had been banging away at trying to get a patient entrepreneur program, and I kept being told, yes, but not now. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and I wouldn't give up. I was having enough of a battle to get entrepreneurship recognised, then to get entrepreneurship for patients recognised. Anyway, and then a few years ago, you're going to hear from them. I met Alice and Sophie, and I tell you what, you get them on your side, no one's going to get in your way. They just said, we think this is really, really important. You're absolutely right. We should have patient-informed innovation and entrepreneurship in the NHS. And we think having patient entrepreneurs, people with lived experience who've been scared and frightened and had a health problem and been through the system and have come up with something and have come up with a way where they think they could improve it. Just imagine if we could capture that, we could support it, we could help transform healthcare services. I mean, we just all fell in love with this, and we just went, wouldn't you do that? If you were chief exec of the NHS or health minister, wouldn't you do that? I said, but we're not that. Why don't we do it anyway? So they came on board, and long story short, together it became an unstoppable narrative, an argument, and we got permission to start it. And I'm so excited because you're going to hear from some of our patient entrepreneurs. They are breathtaking. I'm just so humbled by people's experience, what they come on and do. We had one of them pitch this. We were in Belfast this weekend, just gone at our stop, and one of them stood up and pitched. I got really emotional about it because the story was just, it was just why we're here. It was about transforming people's lives. Nothing I had ever thought about. What do I know? I'm a surgeon, I'm an academic, I'm a medical director, all these things. What did I understand about this guy's lived experience of the health service? And in his case, the fact that he lost his sight. And it was, I'd never thought of it like that. And, our patients have taught us so much. And you might have thought, isn't it a bit daunting for patients to go on a program with all these clinicians from the NHS? It's remarkable. You'll hear some of their views. It is remarkable when you have shared values around problems that you're all trying to address. You learn from each other. It accelerates your ideas. I'm not saying everything's a great success and it gets everyone, but we run the experiments. And if it doesn't work, at least we know that didn't work. Now let's try something else. But we do it in a safe environment, in a way where we can learn and create together. So we bring the resources we've got in NHS England to bear to try and make better health service, to try and build a better health service, to try and change not just outcomes, but patient and staff experience in healthcare. We want the NHS to not just be the best place you can get healthcare from. We want you to say, well, so hopefully you won't need to come for healthcare, but we also want it to be the best place to work for our staff. They're wonderful. People have been looking after me saying outpatients. Oh, they're amazing. It's all run so smoothly and beautifully. But if you read the newspapers, you wouldn't believe that for a moment, would you? Well, let's change the narrative around that. I know some wonderful people, not just here in Southend, on our we've got 1,500 clinical entrepreneurs now. It's incredible. It's a movement for positivity and change in healthcare, and not just talk. They've raised £1.3 billion between them to invest in healthcare innovation. We've got drones flying between Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital. We've got the world's first home test for white blood cell count. So patients who are on chemotherapy, who develop neutropenic sepsis, where you have no white blood count to fight infection, can be detected at home and treated earlier. It wouldn't have happened without the Entrepreneur Programme. On Thursday at the Royal College of Anaesthesia, I'm presenting the greatest advance in anaesthesia. I think my dictaphone machine might have still been recording, so that's going to be a long patient letter, that last one. So I'll edit that later. On Thursday at the Royal College of Anaesthetists, one of our entrepreneurs has developed this patient-controlled analgesia system that allows you to safely inhale this particular general anaesthetic agent. So you get general anaesthetic pain relief, but as patient-controlled analgesia. So it's in, you press the button and you get as much pain relief as you. Can you imagine what that will do for, well, women's health to start with? Let's look at that. Let's look at childbirth. Let's look at outpatient gynecological procedures, which can be great. Let's look at orthopedics. You have to have a general anaesthetic to have that manipulation under anaesthetic or something. It will be transformative again. Wouldn't have happened without the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. So I'm going to shut up now because I can't tell you how thrilled I am. You have got, it's like I feel like, who was it? The A-Team? Are you old enough to remember that? I feel like I remember the A-Team sometimes. I'm not going to tell you which character is which on this call. I'll be in terrible trouble because I'll get it wrong and I can't remember the names of them now. But they're a brilliant team. And, you know, when you've got a team whose values are aligned with those values of the NHS, and we get an opportunity to work with our clinicians, our frontline staff, and our patients to transform the health service, that's what it's about, isn't it? So it's the greatest privilege of my life to work with this lot and to do remarkable things. And at that point, I'm going to shut up, but I'm going to still be around if there are any questions later. Tamsin.
It's amazing. And I think that what you hear Tony talking about is that it's even more about than the innovation. It's not the clinical entrepreneurs, and with it, patient entrepreneurs are able to, it's not just skills and innovation, but to forward skills and leadership, and to be able to put patients at the centre so it changes the culture of the NHS. Because if we're going to do things in the community and treat long-term conditions and polypharmacy and think about prevention and about self-management, it's the patients who are going to change the way that that medicine is structured. And Tony and I were of the generation where it was a very paternalistic type of medicine, and we're moving away from that. And the patients being at the centre of that is hugely important. The people that know most about that, of course, are the patient and public involvement team. So I'm going to hand you over to Sophie and Alice, and they're going to go through the partnership that we have with them and the support they're able to offer. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you so much, Tamsin and Tony. And yeah, everyone's saying they want to bottle your enthusiasm for the programme, which we absolutely would concur with. And it genuinely makes me, I was speaking for Alice as well, it makes our hearts sing working on this programme. It really does, because, you know, we talk about patient-led innovation, but this truly is putting patients at the heart of innovation and transformation in the NHS. So it's an absolute privilege to work on this. And we're delighted that we're able to do Cohort 3 and we can grow and expand this amazing programme. So I have got a couple of slides that I'll run through fairly quickly, because I think it's more important to hear from our fantastic patient entrepreneurs. They'll share with you their stories and what they've really gained from the programme. But I'll just bring up a couple of slides and just run you through.
You're right, Sophie. Oh yeah, okay, great. Got it.
Is that working okay?
We can just see it in editing mode, not presenter mode. So
okay.
Onto slideshow. Lovely.
I think we're there now. Fantastic. So here we are, here's the team. So you've met myself and Alice, and we also have Julian, who's our patient and public involvement officer. He's not here today, but I'm sure we'll get to see him at some point if you join the programme. And this has already really been covered so brilliantly by Tony, but why a patient entrepreneur programme? Well, I don't need to say this to the group joining today, but we know that patients have that first-hand experience and have those ideas that are really going to change healthcare. So in a way, you know, as Tony said, why did it take us so long? But we are delighted that we are able to grow and expand our patient entrepreneur program. And as I say, we're recruiting cohort 3. So it's absolutely amazing. So Alice and I really love this slide. And if you see any of our presentations, you may see this. Because you can see here that the poor baby is not getting the best experience. So for us, this highlights the importance of the end user. This highlights the importance of putting patients first. This highlights the importance of sometimes the so-called experts think they have it right, but actually there can be expertise in lots of different ways, including obviously people who have lived with that condition as a patient, as a carer, been through the system, been through treatments, been through processes that haven't worked, and actually seeing that things could work more effectively and more efficiently. So why now? As I say, we're really building on the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. It's fantastic to see the Patient Entrepreneur Programme and the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme both feature in the 10-year health plan. And it does include the expansion of the programme. So we do have the backing of the 10-year plan commitment as well. And I think, as Tony said, this is all about how we bring real world experience into innovation. This is all about how we can address health inequalities and how we can really bring people with those solutions who are really on the front line here of seeing some solutions to problems within healthcare. So just a little bit of run through of the criteria. To apply for the Patient Entrepreneur Programme, you have to have lived experience as a patient, carer or family member of a specific health condition, and your innovation as well must be linked to this lived experience. So there must be that direct correlation, and you've developed the innovation as a result of that lived experience. We do want to see that your innovation is in development. We have some fantastic ideas and some people that have got some great concepts, but actually we need applicants that have done some market research, they understand their priorities and really how this could impact different health populations. So it needs to be beyond an idea. At the moment, you have to be based in England and 18 years or older to access the Patient Entrepreneur Programme. Again, this has all been covered, so I won't dwell on this too much, but we really do want to empower people with lived experience to develop and scale their innovations. And we have got numerous examples across the Patient Entrepreneur Programme of that. And I think, as Tony said, not only is it the content that you get at the pit stops and the learning events and the mentorship, but it's this community of entrepreneurs that you're exposed to. Lucy and Polly at university are amazing at building those connections, and Tony and Tamsin as well. So they introduce you to the right people that you may not have had opportunity to before. In our obviously patient and public involvement role, we always want to put co-design and co-production at the heart of everything we do. You know, our mantra in our team is talk to patients early, talk to patients often. Patient and public involvement should be a thread that runs throughout a programme, not something that's tagged on at the end. You know, it's a fundamental, not a nice to have. So our support offer for the Patient Entrepreneur Programme is you will be able to access everything from the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. So that includes, as I say, all the pit stops, which are online and face-to-face events that you can attend, mentorship, so you'll be matched to a mentor, the full community. So there's a community hub of entrepreneurs that can really help with that support and guidance. But as well as access to the full programme, you get support from myself, Alice and Julian as the patient and public involvement team. We offer monthly check-in meetings, so with your fellow patient entrepreneurs. So on our current programme, we have 15 patient entrepreneurs on Cohort 2, and it's a chance to get together each month and say, this is working, this isn't working, can somebody help me with this? A lot of knowledge exchange, building contacts, and we also invite in guest speakers into our monthly check-in sessions. So it might be the NHS Innovation Service, it might be how to develop patient and public involvement, it might be about your own resilience, because we recognise that as patient entrepreneurs, there may be different challenges that you may experience to somebody on the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. So it might be about your own psychological safety as you tell maybe quite an emotional story connected to your lived experience, but how you keep yourself safe and how you're able to storytell in a way that's impactful and engaging. So we offer, as I say, the monthly check-ins. We also do one-to-one support calls. And also as a team, if we can, we'll broker those introductions to charities, patient networks, advocacy organisations. So recently, one of our patient entrepreneurs who's working on an eating disorder app was really struggling with having discussions and conversations with the key charities. But I was able to make that introduction, and she's now got some focus groups in motion. So again, we can try and connect you to the right people as we have a lot of contacts within the charity sector. So I think that's it. That is our email address. Very happy for you to contact myself or Alice. And as I say, as a team, we're absolutely delighted to be working on this patient entrepreneur programme and to continue to support Cohort 3. So I think it might be back to you, Tamsin, and to our entrepreneurs.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Sophie, and thank you for running through the benefits of being on the programme and how it's such a wide network of clinicians, and to have the patients join that. So it started as a programme that was just for doctors in 2016, but because of its success managed to get wider and broader and incorporate all NHS staff, whether they were clinical or non-clinical. So the patients being the last piece of the puzzle, but it means that everybody is in the same room. And as you say, Sophie, with the pit stops, which is the education and networking days, then we're able to pull everybody together and share that knowledge with everybody. So you have the benefit of the patient perspective and the clinician perspective of all the people in the room, as well as the mentors. We have a question. Should we quickly jump to the question? Is it Claire? Hi. Did you want to
sorry,
come in at this point? Yeah, it's lovely. Hi.
Probably asked the question at this in the chat at the same time. So I'm thinking, what's the timescales on this? So I work with a co-production group of people with lived experience, and I'm sure some of them have got some amazing ideas what would happen. But I feel like I'm that link between what you're saying here and those people with lived experience that haven't actually got the confidence sometimes to come forward and say that. So I'm just wondering what the timescale is on this, because it'd be really great if I could do a focus group to present this to them, so they then came up with the ideas in that co-production session. But I'm just hoping that you've got some timescales there. So it says it opens on the 3rd of November. When do we need to get applications in?
Yes, you're right. So it ends up, in fact, I can bring Polly in, but it ends on the 28th of November. Oh, someone's put it in Polly's already on top of it.
Yes, it closes it's open for almost a month. It closes on the 28th of November.
Quite a long time. Thank you.
And yes, you're quite right. There's a sort of cycle of being able to onboard people, and you want time to be able to apply and then to hear back. And then for it all, do you know what? I'll take 2 more questions at this point, only that I'm desperate for you to hear from the wonderful patient entrepreneurs, and then we'll open it up for all the other questions afterwards. So if I could take Rudy's question next, that'd be great. Thanks. Is it Rudy Page? Are you able to open your mic? Would you like to ask the question?
Apologies, it was an accident. I put a point in the group. I just said that excellent and bold programme.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Definitely worth putting your hand up for. Fantastic. Kerry, thank you, Rudy. Kerry, great to hear
Yeah,
from.
just wondering, how many hours do you have to dedicate to the programme?
Yeah, that is a great question. So again, Polly can jump in with me on this, but it's understood. So we're working with clinicians across the NHS. We're completely understanding that people have very busy jobs and are balancing this with everything else. So in that way, it's done it tries to be as light touch but holistic as possible. People get out of it as much as they put in. So the pit stops and networking events are done almost once a month, not quite, across the year, and those are provided hybrid as hybrid. So you can do them online, and you can even, if you're working or you can't do that, you can even do them as catch up. And then there's also a commitment to speak to your mentor, but again, that is 4 times throughout the year as a minimum. If it happens to be more and it all works out, that's great, but we ask for a sort of 4 hour for catch-up points. Polly, was there anything else that?
No, Tamsin is correct. Our main core learning is the pit stops. So as Tamsin says, they happen sort of roughly once a month, and they're hybrid and recorded. We do run some industry days, which are optional, but they're generally in person. But all of our workshops and webinars are online. And everything that we can possibly record is recorded, so you can catch up.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for giving me the
Well,
chance.
no, thank you. No, that was great. And actually, it was a great question at this point, actually, to be able to bring that into what's expected of everybody. So yes, applications, and then being able to onboard, and the community hub, which actually Sophie mentioned, which was lovely, but you then get onboarded to a community hub. So you have a sort of private, protected online community group of people where you can ask questions, put out things that you need, surveys or bits that you might want to shout about, help with funding, whatever. And actually, we've just this year brought the mentors into that so that they can help support some of those questions as well. So you'll see all the opportunities. So there is an opportunity to probably get involved with the program quite a lot, but we completely understand that kind of waxes and wanes and people are busy at different times. So yeah, you're not expected to change your life. We want this to work with your life. So it has been designed with that in mind. Thank you so much. That's a great thing to address at this point. And we have 3 patient entrepreneurs who have really kindly come in order to explain what they've been doing. They have an entire 5 minutes each, which is in order to explain it all to you. And I think the first person is Joe Broad. Joe, are you here?
I am here indeed.
Right.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Sorry, I couldn't see you initially. Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Are you going to go for it? Have you got slides?
I haven't got slides.
Perfect.
There's nothing to present, but I will.
We want to listen to you. Perfect. Thanks, Joe.
Over the next 5 minutes, just around kind of my innovation, bit of an introduction into that, how I developed it, and then come on to discuss some of the benefits that personally I've seen from the program. But first of all, thank you very much for having me on to talk about the journey. It is a real privilege to be on, and a huge privilege to be a part of the program and the network within the program, really. So just to introduce myself, I'm Joe Broad. I'm the founder of NovaCaddy, and I'm part of the Cohort 2 of the Patient Entrepreneur Programme. So I joined the program just this year. So in terms of my innovation, so 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, completely changing my life, really. Now having to inject myself 5 to 15 times a day with these pre-filled insulin injection pens, essentially to manage my blood sugar levels and really keep me alive on a day-to-day basis. And soon after diagnosis, I realized that when my insulin pen was exposed to warm temperatures, the insulin within the pen begins to break down, becoming ineffective in lowering my blood sugar, which would then result in disposal of the pen, which is essentially a cost to the NHS. So that's what led me to develop my innovation, NovaCaddy, which is a smart portable medication temperature management device designed to help people living with chronic conditions to help them safely store and carry temperature sensitive medications like insulin around with them on a day-to-day basis. So it combines passive cooling hardware with a connected mobile application that helps track temperature data, and it alerts users when medication is essentially at risk, and it provides insights for both patients and clinicians with the aim to give people confidence and freedom to live actively without worrying about their medication stability. So how did I come to develop the innovation then? So prior to joining the NHS Patient Entrepreneur Programme, I managed to onboard onto the West Midlands Health Tech Innovation Programme, where I partnered with universities like University of Warwick and University of Birmingham to explore prototyping development for my hardware. And then kind of from there, I secured some early stage grant funding from my local council, which allowed me to build my mobile application prototype with the Bluetooth connectivity. So I'm kind of now in a position where I'm seeking further investment to finalize my product development and help take my product to market, essentially. So I'm actively applying for now larger scale grant opportunities and seeking further opportunities to pitch in front of some angel investors as well. And I think being a part of the NHS Patient Entrepreneur Programme has really been a huge part of that journey, helping me turn that kind of lived experience into hopefully what will become a validated innovation. So in terms of what I've gained from the programme so far, some of the benefits, I think first of all, IP and regulatory support has been key. So there's one-to-one and also group IP sessions available with specialists to help understand exactly what elements of kind of my hardware and my software that I could look to protect, which is crucial for innovations, really, not only from a development standpoint, but also to give confidence to investors as well when you're pitching in front of them. And as Sophie discussed previously, just around patient and public involvement. So through Sophie and the team, I've been introduced to key contacts, including the lead of for PPI at Diabetes UK. So that connection is going to be vital, really, for helping co-design and test my products really with real users who understand the challenges firsthand, the challenges that I've seen firsthand with the insulin degrading over time through temperature exposure. And then mentoring, I know it's been touched on as well. So I think recently I've been paired with a highly experienced mentor in medical device development, which I'm extremely pleased about. And those sessions are due to start imminently. And essentially that's going to help me support my next stage of product design, regulatory planning, and again, also investor readiness. And then I think we've touched on the community hub. I think just to take that a little bit further, the community hub is really, it's an application and also a mobile website which just helps keep everybody connected. So I know Lucy and the team do a great job in terms of sharing updates on upcoming events, opportunities that are available. So that can be grant opportunities or opportunities to get involved in specific events. And it really just helps build that sense of community among us entrepreneurs and also the clinicians as well. And the team do an excellent job of keeping everybody engaged and informed through that platform. So that's been really, really handy for me. And then I think finally the collaboration and the network aspect of the program, it's been fantastic. Some fantastic face-to-face events, some great remote virtual check-ins, and I think really to finish my kind of slot really is just to shout out the people. So that's the people running the program that you've heard from today and how passionate they are really, but that passion kind of just bleeds through to all of the entrepreneurs on the program as well. And I just think everybody's just been brilliant. They're so supportive, and I think mostly just inspiring, really, hearing about everybody else's journey as well and how you can support each other on that journey has just been great, really. So I hope that my journey has inspired you guys that are listening, and I'm excited to see where the next steps in my journey kind of takes me. But what I'll do is I'll leave my link in the chat if you wanted to reach out and have any questions about the programme or about my journey, about my innovation. Feel free to reach out. More than happy to put some time aside to have those conversations with you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for that generosity there of allowing people to reach out to you. And thank you. You've got some comments there about how extraordinary, incredible, amazing work. When it is, it's quite amazing to hear you speaking about how it changed. The diagnosis changes your life, but then you went on to change your life further by addressing this in order to make it better for everybody else. It's inspiring. You have so many people telling you how wonderful it is, and thank you so much for agreeing to reach out to people. I'm sure people will reach out to you.
No problem at all. Thank you,
Joe. We've got some questions for you in a moment, so if you don't mind hanging on, and then we'll just come to Will Jackson. Was a patient entrepreneur earlier on than Joe. I'll let you speak next, Will.
Oh, wow. How do you follow that then? Crumbs. So, hello, I'm Will Jackson. 12 years ago, I was having 180 arguments a day with my daughter over her life-saving respiratory therapy. She saw this treatment as a punishment, not as a medicine. So we were not unique. Respiratory treatment adherence is a slow-motion disaster. It frustrates clinicians, it wastes billions, but it's patients that pay the ultimate price. I've developed Play Physio, which transforms respiratory devices into game controllers. It triples adherence and it triples the quality of the treatment that's done. But we're not just tracking treatment, we make every breath count with engaging gameplay. One child even said he was heartbroken when he had to give it back to us at the end of the trial. Play Physio makes treatment serious fun. But we can also scale beyond children to the potentially millions of patients of all ages in post-surgical recovery every year. We've completed a couple of clinical trials and we now have evidence that our treatment is effective and safe to use. We've also shown improvements in quality of life for children and for their patients, for their parents rather. So what the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme has done for me as a patient entrepreneur. So you've kind of heard a bit about the in-person events that are run, and they're super helpful, and they cover all the areas and all the stuff that you'll need to know about as you progress with your project. The other really interesting thing is that you never know who you're going to meet when you go to one of these events. It's not just the people that are talking, but also the people that attend, because you never know if that next person could unlock the next stage of your project. And the other thing the CEP does, which is fantastic, is it's a bit like a golden ticket to the NHS, because the team here can connect you to all kinds of amazing people that would take you months and months of cold emails to get through to. And because it comes through the team, you can get those very difficult to reach people to respond to you very quickly, which is fantastic. It saves you loads of time. And overall, it's just fantastic to be part of such a supportive group who understand where you are and what you're trying to do. You don't have to re-explain yourself every time you turn up to a meeting. And sometimes the entrepreneurial journey can be quite tough, and that's incredibly valuable. So that's me.
Well, it's so wonderful to hear about your innovation, particularly because being within paediatrics, it's so hard to be within paediatrics, and it's just so, I think every parent understands those frustrating times when you're trying to make something, do something with your child to make them feel better that feels hard at the time. And so it's something that we can all think about, but also that you have then addressed it to improve adherence and treatment effectiveness and made it clinically, you've checked that it's clinical effectiveness. And there are very few innovations within child health, despite the fact that we know that if you do a small amount of intervention for children, it can make a lifetime of difference, and that it makes such a massive difference to children if you can improve their health earlier on. And so it's beautiful, the innovation that you have, and so clever, and of course it addresses one of the priority for the NHS around digital health, and of course children love digital health. If you could just let them let them get access to it. So it's quite unusual for people to prioritise paediatric health like that. So Will's innovation is really important within paediatrics. I ought to mention that I am also a paediatrician, so but it's great, and I know that this has been something that's been mentioned by the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health since Will's been on the programme. Will, thank you so much for that. We also have questions for you, so don't go away, and
Sure.
We'll come to Louise Thompson.
Hello. You can't follow anybody on this. It's always really difficult, whoever you're following, because it's such a special programme. Everybody on it and associated with it is amazing, and so it's a privilege to be here to spread that message. Fantastic. So to quickly talk about my story, I was a commercial director, having done law, focused in London, never expected to be an innovator, never expected to set up my own business. None of these things were in the plan. And then my parents became ill with dementia back home in the northeast, and it was really difficult for me to be supporting them and managing my career. And wherever I was meant to be somewhere else. And eventually I set up My Folks, named after my parents. And the aim is to connect those who need practical or emotional support for their elders with My Folks, as we call them, who can provide it. And there's a few things that we do that is different to ordinary care. So we are a bit earlier in the process. We are aiming to keep people well in their own homes for longer. So we are supporting community prevention and digital, which are aims of the NHS. You can book us via our app. Really, really, I still can't believe that I'm doing it. All about preventing social isolation, which is a killer. And the other thing that we do differently is we don't devise our reporting that goes to the families for insurance purposes or for defensive purposes. What we write is from the heart, and it's what people have really seen. Ethel's not looking so good today, she's not so perky, she's not her normal self, and we've spotted a rug, you might want to take that rug up because that's a bit dangerous. That's the sort of human thing that we're doing. Got on the Clinical Entrepreneur Programme with My Folks and had so much help, which I'll talk about in a little while. But the other thing that happened to me is Dr. Aman Sharma is what happened to me, who is a force. If you don't know him, you will find out about Dr. Sharma if you get on the programme. He is just such a live wire. And he had obviously brought his innovation, I brought mine, and we went on a field trip to Google's offices to learn about YouTubing, which was an amazing experience. We sit next to each other, and I said, I've got an idea that I would love to turn into a video that promotes health. And he listened to me and he said, yeah, we can do this together. And that has led to ThromboWatch. And ThromboWatch is about blood clots, and we have a podcast that people are welcome to go onto YouTube and check us out. And we have a few plans for the future as well, maybe some devices, maybe some monitoring. In talks now with we're in talks with Edinburgh University, we're in talks with the Royal Victoria Infirmary in Newcastle. So things are starting to happen there that would never have happened without the programme. That was an idea in the back of my head that probably was there before My Folks, but I still never thought I'd do anything with either of them until this programme. So what did this programme bring? And the others have touched on it, but first of all, guidance. So you get education, such as how to pitch, what IP is, how to protect it, medical device regulation, all of that education that you need to take an innovation forward that could be used in the NHS. You get the network. And we're all together, and we're probably, I think Tony previously said, in other rooms, you're the weird one, because you're the one that's got the ideas and you're the one that might see things differently. But on the programme, we're all the weird ones, and we just bounce off each other, and we, you know, it's like you found your tribe of people who really want to make that difference. And you know, nobody wants to cut down your tall poppiness. Everybody supports it and wants to promote it, and yeah, it's just like finding your people. And there is no difference in the group around whether you're a patient entrepreneur or you know, whether you're a medic, whether you're a physio. It doesn't matter. It just matters that you've got an innovation that you're trying to bring forward, and everybody is so supportive of that and wants you to succeed. That support is amazing, because things will go wrong. There will be challenges. There will be days where you think, why on earth am I doing this? And it's never going to work, and you know, there's no point in it, and I'm going to give it up. And I've had those conversations with Will and lots of others, because Will and I were on the same cohort, and lots and lots of others from all parts of the programme. And you know, you just get the advice to, it will be better tomorrow, and it will. People will have tried this, have thought of that. Look at this other experience and learn from it. And yeah, you're right, it will be better tomorrow. So that's amazing. But the other thing I have to say that you get is challenge, and it can be painful. You know, you think that this is your wonderful invention, and put, you know, tender love and care into it, and then somebody might say, well, that's not really going to work, or you haven't thought about this, or how's that going to interconnect with the NHS, and do you really expect the NHS to change its ways of working to accommodate your innovation, or whatever the challenge might be. And it stings, it really does, but it is for good. It's to help you and to improve it. And it's up to you whether you want to react to that and take notice of it or not. It's entirely up to you, but it is all said for your benefit, much as it might be painful at the time. I would say take it on board, reflect on it, come back stronger every time. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. So lovely to hear from you. And actually, Louise mentions a really good point, because of course, Louise has these amazing ideas, and she's scaled lots of them and taken on additional pathways on top of the one that she was applying with. And it raises a good point, which comes up quite a lot, which is people worrying about whether they take on something else or whether they pivot. And it is okay if you come on with an idea and you develop it, or you realize, or you get some advice that makes you realize how the best way is for you to guide your innovation. It might be a bit of a change, it might be a different direction, and that's fine. In fact, we would expect you to do that, to work with that advice and think about how to best use your time and resource and expertise as with lived experience about how you want to get your innovation into the NHS and what part of the NHS you want to approach. And so sometimes people pivot quite extensively within the programme. And as Louise has done, she's moved from one idea to building on that to see where she could be more effective and use her expertise more. And she's partnered with several people within the programme, and it's always, as you can see from all of them, they're all so generous themselves with their time. And of course, it's them that make what the Patient Entrepreneur Programme is, because it's always the people who make what anything is and whatever programme is. And these guys will be supporting you as you come through, and so they fulfill the culture, and so we're very grateful to them. We have a little bit of time for a few questions, if that's okay, if you're still around, the three of you. Maybe Jo, I could just ask you first about how important it is, like what is the importance of people with that lived experience within healthcare innovation?
I think it's hugely important. I think where I've seen the benefit is when I've been able to network with the clinicians at the face-to-face events as well, because I think it puts a different aspect and a different spin on it. They've never seen that kind of patient side of things, and then the flip side of that, it's really great to hear about the clinician aspect of it as well, and their kind of technical aspects. So I think meeting with them at the face-to-face events, I've really seen kind of the benefit of that. But I think in general, having that patient voice within the NHS is extremely important. So, you know, this program gives you know, us patients who have been through this lived experience a platform to really help that. So
yeah, thank you. And actually, Will, you had something similar because all the treatment was there for your daughter, but the importance of what you brought into healthcare was that lived experience, that piece that just was missing about how to make that treatment so effective.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in a particular 1980s pop group called Bananarama, who said, "It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it." And that's really a key thing, because as a patient, you do things differently to the way that the doctors and the nurses and everyone tells you should do it, because you've got a busy life, you've got stuff to do, you need to crack on, and you find your own way of doing stuff. And you try to stick to everything as well as you can, but you maybe do it a bit differently. And sometimes that's really valuable. And sometimes it could help a lot of people in doing it the way that you do it. So that kind of wraps it up for me.
Yeah, it's such a good example, isn't it, of that, of being able to take what the NHS has already done and think about how to best engage patients and how to make them not hate their treatment, so that they can, because that's part of the mental health around your condition, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. If you feel that you have no freedom to do the things you need to do, or there's just too much stuff for you to cope with, and it's all getting on top of you, then that's not good for anybody. And sometimes, to be completely honest, doctors and nurses and health professionals kind of forget that because they're focused on other things, and they're super busy, and there's a lot going on, and it's a difficult role to perform, and you just have to kind of balance those things out. And as a patient, you kind of do that, or as a carer, sometimes you have to choose your battles. So it's that side of balancing it out.
Yeah, and I always feel a little bit embarrassed about, because when I was doing my innovation, that I had worked for a clinician for so long, but it was only when my own child had the type of the glue ear, the condition, that it made me think, right, I need to do something about it. And I actually feel a bit bad about that, but I think that you need the other perspective is so valuable. And we think that we see it all of the time, but when you're busy and you're trying to do the bit that you're trying to do, that bit is missed. And so, of course, one of the real benefits of the Patient Entrepreneur Programme is the patients being part of the diversity of the cohort. So the amount that we now get to talk about co-production. I mean, we have a partnership with one of the medical journals. We've seen patients authoring papers and starting to get patients much more involved in a way that we need to see the future of NHS care looking like. So it's been so important to have, like, as Tony often says, there's no separate room of people who are going to make the future of the NHS. You guys here, you are what the future of the NHS looks like. And Polly has constantly been, had been really interesting to track how people end up having a voice in all these different places, with you and Louise and Joe all looking at finding yourselves in NHS conferences and universities and looking at funding streams and in front of people where you get to, it's not just about your innovation, but it's about saying how important this perspective is, this part of healthcare is. And I think that that from that point of view, it's really exciting having patient entrepreneurs being seen as being important and visible. Louise, is it all right to come to you about how you feel like lived experience is, the importance of lived experience within healthcare innovation?
I touched on it briefly, and thank you for coming to. I touched on it briefly when I was talking about insurance, because sometimes bodies like the NHS and others are conscious of litigation, they're conscious of rules and insurance and all of that sort of thing. And it's easy to lose the humanness to that. And the humanness is so important. So in my focus, I'm trying to put human ahead of those things. They're still important. I still have insurance. I still have to do reporting. But the humanness, the impact to the human and what you're trying to achieve here is the key thing for me. It's all about the human.
Yeah, that's such a lovely point. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you one quick fire thing each, but I'm going to come to the Q&As. We're going to leave enough time for questions. So, but just what would you, like, maybe if I start with you, Louise, about what would you say to other people with lived experience who are thinking of applying to this programme? What's your bit of advice?
You need to do this, because otherwise it'll stay in your mind and you'll wish that you had. So now is your opportunity. Just grab it, take it, make the most of it.
Yeah, I love it. Will, how about you?
Yeah, I would agree. And if anyone feels slightly intimidated because you're thrown in with all the doctors and nurses and other professionals, your superpower is that you're not one of them and you think differently, and there's a mutual benefit in that. So they learn from you as much as you learn from them, and that's your superpower. So embrace that, dive in.
Thank you so much, Will. Joe, have you got anything you'd say as a final word?
Yeah, I'd just say, it's an opportunity to have a voice, really, and to reach out to the team that have presented today. If you do have any additional questions regarding, the application or something, don't just look at the application and maybe suffer. If you're struggling, do reach out to people, and myself, I'm open to have that conversation as well. I'm sure the other guys on the call are, but yeah, just reach out and just apply for it, and you won't regret it.
Thank you. Amazing. Thanks so much. And actually, we might need you for answering some of the questions. We've got Jenny and Polly on the call. We'll be putting things in the chat to help you understand a bit more about the programme. Just on the questions and answers, we have recorded this. And so if you don't mind being on camera, then that's great, just so you know it is recorded for other people to have a look at. So when you're asking your questions, if you don't want to be on the recorded version, then you can either tell us or keep your camera off so that we can make sure that that's okay with you guys. And Kathy, we'll come to you first. Ooh, Kathy, I'm struggling to hear you. Is it just me?
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be asked to put my question first.
Oh, sorry, Kathy.
No, it's fine. I can just, go ahead. I came on this call because I wanted to take up the invitation, and I didn't really know what it was about. But I am an ex-service user, blah, blah. I won't tell you all of it. But I was on a meeting this afternoon. It's to do with eating disorders, and this is a service user and carer advisory group. And we actually got to a place where we realised that change is not going to come unless we take it higher, like to the executive level. And I'm not sure what that means, but we're all brimming over with ideas because we've been through the situation. And I mean, do we have to hone it down? I guess I'm here. Do I have to hone it down to one idea?
It does. We do have clinical entrepreneurs who have many ideas, and they often, when people are ideas people, they come up with much more than one. It seems to be probably the most effective to think about one idea that you would take forward in a kind of, it's fine if that pivots, it's fine if that doesn't work, but it's probably worth committing yourself and your energy and the application to one idea and putting that all in. I think that probably works best. Polly, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would say you don't get much space in the application to write a lot, so it's best to sort of contain it with one idea. If you were accepted onto the programme, you could think about looking at your other ideas while you're with us. But I would say the application needs to be just one idea.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just excited. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Great question. Thanks so much. Oh, Kerry, I think it was you next. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong with the order.
No, it was just I was just going to say there's a few questions in the chat actually about eligibility and what kind of what people need to do to apply. So it might just be worth saying a little bit extra just here because it's relevant. So it is actually really important for you to, when you complete the application form, it is really important for you to describe the idea that you're working on in as much detail as you can in the space that you're given. So absolutely, entrepreneurs always have 100 ideas and they've got loads and loads of kind of like links and alignments in their head about how things can get improved. But when you get assessed in the process, we'll be looking at how you're going to take this forward, because we really want it to succeed. We really want to support you to sort of really grow that idea. So having a really good understanding of where the unmet need is, what's the scope of the need for this type of innovation, and it doesn't have to be tech. There's a question further on in the chat that says, you know, does it have to be tech? Does it have to be digital? No, it doesn't. We get lots and lots of devices. We get lots and lots of apps and other types of data-driven or tech-driven innovations, but we are also really welcoming of service changes, workforce changes, low tech innovation. Absolutely welcome to bring that to your application form. But we want to see, have you done some work to understand the need? What's the need? And you are so well placed as patients to understand that, because you've been living it and you're connected to patient networks or family networks who've also been living it. So bring that information to it. Also, has it gone beyond, like, we've had a coffee and we've had a chat about this and we think it's a really good idea? It has to be beyond that. It's really got to have kind of like, how would it work? If it's a thing, have you got a prototype? Have you sort of mapped it out? If it's a new design for something, have you sort of mocked it up? Have you tested it? Have you tested that design idea? So it needs to be beyond idea stage, because if it's at idea stage, it probably will not score as highly as against other people who have done that work. So it's really important to think about that work when you bring it back to your application. So sorry, I'm really sorry I jumped in. Kerry, you go for it. I just thought it was relevant to the question before.
Thanks so much, Alice. That's so helpful.
So I'm a care leaver. I'm mental health disabled and I'm late diagnosed neurodivergent. And I just wanted to just understand a little more about the recruitment process. So when you put in your application, how many spaces are available? Those kind of questions, just because my brain's just gone into overwhelm now, thinking of loads of different things.
That's all right, Kerry, that's perfect. And actually there's plenty of clinicians in exactly the same boat. And actually, because we try to put everything on the website, so everything that has an idea of the application form, examples of how you can fill it out. Polly, do you want to talk a little bit more about the application form itself?
Sorry, I was busy writing in the chat. I'm not very good at multitasking.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So, a copy of the application form will go online shortly, so you can do a bit of prep before the application's open. If you need additional support, Kerry, we can give you additional support helping you fill that in. There's some questions about your innovation that we also ask you to do a 1-minute pitch, which is a short video that you can just do on your phone to talk about what your innovation is, so we can learn a bit more about you and what you're doing and what your plans are. And it is only a minute, which sounds really scary, but a minute is quite a long time if you prep enough for it. We also are running some additional webinars. I think the first one might be the week after next, on the application form and prepping for all of that. So yeah. But as I say, and there's lots of other webinars coming forward. I think there's 3 during the time, and then we do some extra sessions towards the end of the application time, so that if people have any last-minute questions or need any particular support, you can always get us on our email. We can arrange a call if anyone wants any further information. So yeah, please just take a good look at the website. There's loads and loads of information on there. All the things you need to include as part of your application, and you've still got it's a week or so before it opens, so there's plenty of time for you to do a bit of prep before.
Can I just ask another question of kind of follow on from that? So previously, when I've looked to get within the NHS as a job, the application forms are quite tiresome. And obviously, as someone neurodivergent who struggles to maintain concentration for long periods of time, I think I mentioned in the chat that about reasonable adjustments. I think someone replied to say that there would be reasonable adjustments.
Yeah, that's fine. So if I've already put the email address in the chat, but I'll just chuck it in again. If you email us, we can arrange a call and we can discuss that. So that's absolutely fine.
Thank you. I realised my headphones weren't on. I was talking all the way through my headphones.
No, it was fine. We didn't notice. You were absolutely fine. And actually, thank you for bringing that up. I think that is really important. And as Alice was saying, it doesn't have to be an actual product. It doesn't have to be a thing. It can be anything from a pathway that you might be influencing, but it just has to be well researched. You have to understand it. All the good things that Alice said. Alice, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, don't think so.
You did cover it all. You covered it all beautifully. But I was just thinking, in case you had some other pearl of wisdom for everybody, I'll come on to Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for putting this on today, and to all the patient entrepreneurs for sharing their stories, which has been amazing to hear. And well done to all of you for that. My question very quickly is, when somebody does come through with an idea that could possibly change something within the NHS quite dramatically, or it doesn't even have to be something majorly or significant, but what happens to the patent or the copyright elements of that? Is that owned by the patient? Is that owned by NHS? Because obviously they're then funding that. So that legality part would be really interesting to understand.
Yeah, thank you. Great question and very important. So the programme itself, I'm sure the others might jump in on this, but the programme itself doesn't take any intellectual property from you. So it is something you come onto the programme, and once you've been awarded that place, then you have access to the programme, but nothing else is taken away from you. Now, you might be aware that when people do deals later on, or whether they accept support from other accelerators or sometimes from a hospital or an organisation, they might ask you for some kind of, they might take some of that intellectual property or equity in whatever you're doing. So you have to be mindful of that. But on this programme, that doesn't happen. And the mentors that are part of the programme, where you will connect together with a mentor of your choosing, then the mentors also sign an agreement where there is an understanding between everybody that is a mentor-mentee relationship, and that there is a obvious kind of non-disclosure part of that. It is very important that you feel able to build on your ideas without feeling like you need to restrict them. And actually, for me, when I used to be on the programme, that was one of the things I felt most beneficial, because I felt like I could trust people on the programme. And when I was talking to other people who wanted to take a stake in the innovation, then I wasn't sure about how much of an ulterior motive people had. And because I didn't know about that, that felt difficult for me to navigate initially. So that is not something you'll need to navigate, but you do need to be very mindful of having the right types of conversations as you go outside the programme. And there's access to that type of support. And if you need to, webinars about intellectual property and how you will handle that going forward. And if you need to have one-to-one support with that, you can have that as well. So it's handled quite well on this programme, and it's something that for me was really important. And I actually thank you very much for bringing that up, because I think that that's something that people should think about early on, isn't it? About how you're going to handle that side of it. Alice or Polly, did you have anything to add to that? No. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for that. Can't see if there are any other questions? Polly, is there some helpful, is there some questions in the chat that you think would be worth? I know that Alice has addressed quite a lot of them.
Yeah, I think we've just been replying as we go along. There are some slides that have been added to the chat if anyone wants to download them with extra information about the programme. And like I said, there's lots of application webinars coming up if you want to join those. All of the events are listed on the website under the events section. So there are those events and other events that might interest you that you can have a scroll through.
And the slides have got all of the different aspects of the programme. So if you have a look at the slides that Polly and Jenny have put in the chat, you'll be able to see there that it explains each part of the programme and the different, what you'll get out of the programme, and again, how to apply it and what the application cycle is like, and then the programme throughout the year. And if we are near the end of Q&As, we might have to give the final word to the innovation lead for the whole NHS. Tony, do you want to come in and tell us about how what you're looking for in cohort 3 of the Patient Entrepreneur Programme?
No one's ever given me the final word for anything, Tamsin. It's overrated, to be honest. I think I would just be yourselves. Put at the heart your lived experience and why you want to take this opportunity that the health system is presenting to help us do better, to help us listen, to help us include others. We won't all get it right. I'm not expecting anyone to build $1 billion valuation company. That's not what it's about. If you do that, amazing. The health minister be so pleased. We're trying to grow the life science economy. You don't feel you can't do that. We'd be delighted. But that's not what it's about, isn't it? It's about chipping away. Every single one of you makes a difference. Every single one of you that does something to improve someone else's experience of the health system improves the health system. If we can get enough of you, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? So I actually want us to give Alice a real problem. I shouldn't say that. Let's have so many amazing applications that she has to go and ask for more money to provide more support. You say those patient entrepreneurs, we've been overwhelmed with incredible applications. What a great problem to give Alice, huh? I don't like giving Alice problems, but let's give her this one. I think it would be wonderful. We've learned so much. Our clinical entrepreneurs have learned so much from our patient entrepreneurs. I love them. I'm so excited. And you know, some of them, they keep me on my toes. You know, that Louise Thompson, she seems so lovely. She doesn't let me get away with a thing. Not one thing. Not everything. Are you going to do this? You're going to make this introduction? If ever there was a self-starter, she's a great example of that. But they're all wonderful and they bring something new. It might be early stage. I get it. It doesn't matter. But we do expect you to have a go, do quite a bit of research in the background, looking at what it is. And the team are here to help you. They really will. We don't want to make this difficult. It's not an exam. There's no right and wrong answers. We'll give you all the answers and you know, help you prepare the best application you can to get through. But it just, you'll see, and I'm sure we'll share a whole load of what we think like really good answers for different bits of the questions look like. There's not trying to trip you up. It's just trying to help you explore your thinking and help you explore if this is really the right program for you. Some people, we've had some academics apply in the past who thought it was a research program, and they were horrified when they got through to the interview stages, because it wasn't what they were expecting at all. So that should help guide you with the program. We'd love to see as many patients as we can. I can't tell you. It would just be amazing. And what a great thing. Wouldn't you want a health service that has patients at the heart of it, helping them design it, really design it, not just saying we do that, but really doing it? That's what it's about. So look, I'm going to shut up at that point and hand back to Tamsin. I can't wait. I love the video pitches. I watch every single one. It's like a little what do they call it? Reels, like on these things, social media, and you flick down them and you watch them. And some of them make me laugh, and some of them, it's just makes me feel so emotional. Now, not the patient entrepreneur ones, but one of the two of the clinical ones. Do you know they're a bit like those terrible auditions on X Factor? And so that is quite funny. One or two of them have made it through and have built quite big companies. Maybe one day we should do a little show reel and play them back. That will make me laugh. There we are. Who knows? Anyway, good luck with everything.
He does watch every single video. It's true. He watches every single one. So as well as it going through the application process, going through other people who score your application. Thank you so much for everyone for those questions. Thank you for being brave enough to come on here and thinking about it. If you're neurodiverse and you've got lived experiences that are making it difficult, we probably need you more than anyone else. Please apply. We want to hear your perspective. And to the amazing patient entrepreneurs who are working so unbelievably hard and still find time to offer their support to this kind of thing. Thank you for coming on. And we're really looking forward to your applications. So it opens on the 3rd of November, and we'd love you to apply. Thank you so much for your support, everybody.